Welcome back! This is the final part. We almost made it. So, here you can see the seam I made by hand with some silk thread to attach both sides of the embroidery to one another. And I think I didn't make them quite symmetrical, but you can't tell it because you can only look at one side at a time. Now you might already have noticed that I left the corners open. This has a particular reason, and that is that the blackberries are going to go through there, and this is going to get a little fiddly. I'm basically going to put them in the reticule in the bag and then have this little bit stick out. So, okay, this is how I did this. You can see the blackberries in there, and the little bit that's supposed to anchor it in the seam is sticking out here. So this definitely was kind of difficult to do. Here there's a needle in it so that it doesn't wiggle around, and then I just closed the seam, making sure I catch the little anchor bit. And this is the whole thing turned inside out. You can see it's coming very neatly out of the little hole that I left for it. And now it's all securely attached. I did this with all the three corners, so there was 3 blackberries for 3 corners, and then I turned the entire thing inside out again, and I started finishing the edges because the silk I used, I think it was taffeta, and that tends to fray quite a bit, and the corners don't look so nice anymore. I didn't want to mess this whole thing up by using it, so I decided to finish the edges just in case. And I'm using a pretty basic blanket stitch for that. If this was a very densely woven silk, this could be done with pinking shears, but I just didn't want to risk it. It's not so densely woven for that to work. And I'm not doing the blanket stitch with both silk layers on the inside all the way around the upper part. I stopped and I treated each layer of the silk individually to some blanket stitching, and this is also where I left 2 little holes in the seam that I connected the pieces with, which you can see here. And this is because I'm going to do a drawstring. Here you can see 1 hole, and then I just left the bit at the top open, and here is where I didn't treat the layers as one but did a blanket stitch on both layers, and you will see why in a little bit. So I wrapped the fabric to the inside so that the bits that are open at the side match up, and then I made a seam on top of that, and you can see below that is a little hole. I'm going to pull my little string through it like this so that it's on the inside, and then I pull it through the corresponding hole on the other side. And you can see here it's important that there's 2 little bits where there's no seam so that you can pull it through more easily. Then I took the string or cord and I sandwiched it between the little bit that I left open and the outer fabric, and then I made a seam so we have a proper channel for this drawstring. Also, I used the selvage edge for the top part, so I cheated a little bit because it made it easier for me. What you see here is a piece of cotton because I decided to have a lining after all, so that nothing I put into the reticule would pull on the little silk bits, so that it doesn't look dumb from the outside just because something pointy is getting caught on the embroidery on the inside. And this is pretty straightforward, just the same thing again. Make a bag slightly smaller than the outer bag. And I cheated again. This is the selvage edge yet again, because then I didn't have to hem anything. And then I just whip stitched the selvage edges to one another, and it was all nice and neat and wrapped up. And then I totally forgot to film how I attached 2 of the blackberries to the strings. Sorry. Ta-da! This is the finished reticule, and I made a little knot here so that I could grab it easily. Here's the drawstring, it really works well. The lining is super sturdy, I didn't anticipate that. And this is what the blackberries look like. This is really quite cute. Also, it already has a ton of fans in my private circles. And the other side is very identical. This looks really cute when they dangle like that. Ta-da! It's really sweet. Also, it looks really good with my blue gown, which actually I'm going to wear this with very soon when I show you that one. And now it's going to come back into its protective packaging. I usually store it in this weird little plastic thing with a zipper because I'm afraid that it's going to get dirty or that the silk ribbons are going to get torn or something. So I'm just making sure this lasts a long time. Anyway, thanks for sticking with me. And I'm glad you went on this journey with me. And that's it. Now I'm free to do different videos again. Bye.